What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Rachel. I'm a senior biomedical and pre-med student. Today, I'm excited to share with you guys the last video in my MCAT Prep playlist. If you haven't already, make sure to check out the rest of the videos on my MCAT Prep playlist and hit the notification bell to stay tuned for more upcoming videos. In this video, I'll be talking about some of my MCAT studying regrets. I was inspired to release this video partly from a quote that I came across on YouTube, and it goes like, "Smart people learn from their mistakes, but wise people learn from the mistakes of others." I'm hoping that from this video, you guys can gain valuable insight from my MCAT blunders so that you can make the best of your studying and optimize your MCAT studying for your MCAT success. Now let's jump right into it. My first MCAT regret is starting UWorld too early and not buying the 6-month trial. UWorld has multiple options for students. At the time I was taking the test, you could buy the 3-month subscription or the 6-month subscription. Little did I know that with the 3-month subscription, you weren't able to go back and redo questions. If you've watched the other videos on my channel or have seen other MCAT videos, you know that UWorld is basically the third-party gold standard for MCAT prep questions. With this in mind, I tried to do UWorld questions way too early in my MCAT prep. I wish I would have saved more UWorld questions or started doing UWorld questions more towards the day of my exam. I started too early, fearing that I wouldn't be able to finish them all, and then ended up finishing them too early. Now, ideally, even if I finished early, I would have liked to go back and redo some of the questions, as there are over 2,000 questions, and some of them I'm likely to forget. However, with the 3-month trial, this wasn't possible. So make sure that if you're using UWorld, you're purchasing the option that works appropriately for you. My second MCAT regret is pushing my test back and spending actually too much time studying. My MCAT prep plan was around 4 months, so this was a decent amount of time, given that it was during the summer and I didn't have any outstanding obligations in conjunction with studying for my exam. However, I feel as if there's still an optimal amount of time for studying, one that strikes a perfect balance between having enough time to study but not having too much time to study. Originally, I scheduled my exam 2 weeks before my actual exam date, and going through the material, I sort of felt a little bit uneasy and pushed it back 2 weeks. When I got to that 2-week mark on the day that I would have been taking the exam, I felt that I was already prepared to take the exam. During the 2 weeks that followed, I sort of felt like I was declining in efficiency and preparation, and I was at the point where I was comfortably ready to take the exam and felt that doing any more prep would just be counterproductive. Make sure that you're finding a time frame of studying that's appropriate for you and one that isn't too short or too long. My 21st birthday and some other important obligations also fell in the week before my exam. By completing the exam 2 weeks prior, I would have had more time to enjoy my summer, enjoy my 21st birthday, and carry on to prepare for the fall semester. My third MCAT prep regret is not using practice exams for their sole purpose, for practice. Practice exams are opportunities not only for you to practice with how questions are being asked and your application of the material, but they're also ways for you to practice your test-taking strategy. One thing I did do was that I wrote down after each official AMC practice exam what didn't work for me strategy-wise and what I needed to work on for the next exam. However, doing so, I failed to follow through and actually implement a lot of these changes come test day. So make sure that you're using practice exams for their purpose, to practice, refine, and optimize your testing strategy so that come test day, you're using a strategy that you're familiar with, you've practiced with, and that's optimized for your test-taking day success. My fourth MCAT regret is relying too much on passive learning, as well as Anki cards, instead of prioritizing practice questions. Now, active learning and practice questions was a strategy that I came across more so towards the middle of my MCAT prep. I was still focusing a lot on content review. A lot of my studying from pre-med classes involved rereading and going over material over and over and over until I memorized the material. But this is simply not how you can study for MCAT, let alone other classes down the road. You want to prioritize that active learning by doing practice questions and practice exams. I definitely think I could have done much better if I had trimmed down on some of the content review, such as not doing 2 double decks of like over 30,000 Anki cards and just solely focusing on churning out more practice questions, such as doing more UWorld, as well as Jack Weston, which has recently expanded its question bank. So chances are likely that you won't be short on practice questions. My fifth MCAT regret is not having a strong test day mentality. If you haven't seen my video on test day mentality, make sure to check that out. I'll link it right up here above. It's super important that on test day, you're on your A game, you're focused, you're fully concentrated, and you're ready to tackle that exam. And my last and final MCAT regret is not following some of the tips and advice from my MCAT prep playlist. But you may ask, aren't you the originator of these tips and advice? And to that I'd say, yes, I absolutely am. However, some of these tips and advice did come to me towards the end of my MCAT prep or retrospectively after I evaluated my performance on test day and saw things that I could definitely change to potentially, if I retook it, get a way better score. For example, I've done a lot of passive learning throughout my undergraduate and K through 12 years, so it was something that was difficult to shake for me during MCAT prep, even though I was hearing a lot of advice about doing practice exams and practice questions and really prioritizing the active learning. I also wasn't my sharpest on test day and had trouble keeping focus. So by putting out this video and my MCAT prep playlist, I really hope that you guys can take some insight or find some valuable information or tips to learn from my mistakes and craft an MCAT prep study experience that you're not only going to excel in, but also enjoy, learn from, and grow as a student and an individual. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps this channel out. And share the MCAT knowledge with other students who are preparing for the MCAT exam. My DMs in the comment section are always open for any questions that you guys may have. Stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!